staffing industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. We're one of the largest creator of jobs in the world. So you can be profitable and make money, and I believed you could do that and care about your people and care about your community. So I said, let's see if we can prove that theory out. And every single day, we're still working to prove that theory out.
Cindy, it's so good to see you and to be with you here. And I had to wear green.
Thank you. Thank you.
We are in the ultimate space and everything is green. The first time I think that I met you or I saw you at a business event in Detroit, I remember you coming in. You were one of the few women on the stage and you had green in your hair.
Yes.
And I said, this woman, I need to know how she is and how she does her business and who she is. And so that's stuck with me and everything that you've done here. So I have to wear the green.
No, that's the first thing I noticed, right? And thank you. It means a lot because that is our color and it has been for 33 years. And I've got my Rebel Now green on and my green bracelets, and I really appreciate it.
What is it about green that's a power color for you?
So green actually started, my dad took me to the baseball game. And so this green is the exact same color as the original seats in Tiger Stadium.
Oh my gosh.
That's the S3 green. And if you look at our font and you look at the original font for the Detroit Tigers, that's the same font that we use. So it was in honor of my dad, and it is my favorite color, but it was based on the seats in Tiger Stadium.
What does that mean to you then, or in a feeling when you're in this space and people have adopted that who work with you?
It means that our culture is working, and it's successful, and that the team wants to protect it. So in many ways, when everyone wears a touch of green, it says they value being here and they want to protect what we've created. And that's very unique. Sadly, it's very unique in the world of business right now.
That's a picture of your dad.
Yes.
Who drew it?
My great uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was phenomenal. So my great uncle was the reason that I was exposed to ballet, classical music. I still have his vinyl collection of opera. And he opened that world for me. He was a tool and die maker by trade. He and my grandfather came over together from Lithuania. And so they took the position that they could. And in 1911, they could be tool and die makers. But in his heart, he was an artist.
That's a beautiful picture. And I feel like this office surrounds you with all the things that you love. Does that give you inspiration, or does that open creativity for you?
It does both. It gives you inspiration because it reminds you that each day you have a purpose and you need to do that purpose, execute on it. It gives me inspiration. Sometimes you're just like, and you take a deep breath, look around, look at all the places you've been, look at the people that have been in your life, and then always instantly in the back of your mind, there comes that idea. And then when you're having a day that isn't the best, this is the perfect place to be.
Yeah. So tell me, let's go back just a little bit. You started Strategic Staffing Solutions back in 1990.
1990.
How many employees and what idea did you even think that you'd create?
Well, there were only 2 employees. There was a lot of debt already, but there were only 2 employees. And, I was in the industry, and I worked for a really large company, and I just observed they were headquartered on the East Coast. And they were very like, if it doesn't fit in the box, we're not doing it. And if it doesn't look like this, we're not going to do it. And we don't really have any concern for people or community. They're necessary for us to be successful in business. And I looked at all of this and I went, this business in general is a really solid business. The staffing industry, the talent industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. We're one of the largest creator of jobs in the world. And so you can be profitable and make money. And I believed you could do that and care about your people and care about your community. And so I said, let's see if we can prove that theory out. And every single day, we're still working to prove that theory out.
I love the spirit of entrepreneurs, or I'm just going to wing it. You already said that there was some debt to employees.
Right.
We're going to figure it out as we go along. What was the mindset, or how did you learn that mindset, or what was it in you that you had?
My dad. My dad, he was brilliant. He was one of those people that you could have like the columns of figures. He'd look at it and 2 seconds later, he'd tell you what it all added up to. Right. Mm-hmm. He was an amazing poker player because he could remember every card that was played. And he served in World War II. He served under MacArthur. And when he came back, he had a scholarship to go to medical school. And when he came back, he's like, I'm just going to go get a job. And he went to work at Burroughs because that's where his dad had been a tool and die maker. But in the back of his mind, he always had wanted to be a business owner. And so he would take me to dance class on Saturdays, and then he would take me to the office. And in his mind, you could do anything.
And that's what you picked up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You didn't go to college?
Nope. No, when right before I turned 16, my dad became really ill. And my mom always struggled. So she never really was able to function real well. And so I had to take care of my parents.
You became an adult rapidly.
I did. And I worked a lot of hodgepodge jobs. And I could have graduated a year earlier. I only had to take one class in my senior year. And college wasn't an option. But you know what? If I had have gone to college, there'd be no S3.
No, because it took you down a different road, a different path.
Right.
And you've had an experience where you've had to think about many different things. What was being a teen caregiver, really? How do you think that has shaped you?
It was, what it does is it gives you perspective, which is just so important. So I always tell my team, and they would all smile if they hear this, because every January when we're all together, I just tell them our world isn't hard. What we do in S3, you should never use the word hard. It might be a little bit more challenging one day. It might require some more effort. But our world is very fortunate. And finding opportunities and finding talent, that's not hard. What a lot of people experience in their life, that's hard. And so you keep that perspective, and that perspective is important in all aspects of your life, but I think it's incredibly important in business, because most of the time what we're doing in business isn't hard, and we should conduct ourselves accordingly. And that's what I took away from that.
And the ability to adapt. And so then when you started S3 and started to build, did you even surprise yourself?
We're never surprised. I mean, one of the things that we do is we have to do our job every day. And so we really don't look up and go, oh, wow. We just I was sharing with people, we opened in the Philippines, Argentina, and Poland this year. And a lot of people are like, and I'm like, whoa, of course we did. We had a customer that needed us too. It was like, it's what we're supposed to do, right? And then move on with it and figure out a way to make it work. So no, we weren't. And we still aren't. We just, every single day we're out to prove that you can be in this industry, you can be profitable, and you can care about people and care about your community.
Did you ever have someone give you advice and say, no, Cindy, you should just one track in terms of expansion, find your client base, go there, don't worry about your employees, that'll take care of itself.
Yeah, people are like that. They still, all the time.
They don't get it.
They don't get it. And part of it is because they don't have the ability to, or they're not like that, right? Mm-hmm. And there's always someone that's like, how could you go here? Or why would you go there? You think about all the places we are in the world. And they always, a lot of people want to tell you what you should do. And
it's funny,
even when you
now,
haven't asked.
Do people even do that to you now,
Sure,
Cindy?
always.
I mean,
always.
Why do you think that is?
I think that, I think sometimes people want to be sincerely helpful. I think other times they can't, to your point, they can't grasp how we've been able to be so successful. And they don't understand why we don't always take the path of least resistance.
Mm-hmm. when things are tough, that means it's still okay.
Right. Or, like in our business, somebody may say, well, we'd really like you to be able to support us, but we would like you to work with one of your competitors. And it's like, we don't do that. We haven't done that for 33 years, and it's served us really well. And they'll be like, but that's what we think you should do. And I'm like, well, with all due respect, then you probably really don't need us.
And you feel good saying that.
Yeah.
I think that is so interesting, because sometimes people wonder, where you get that feeling or that confidence and assurance. And it could be because, yes, you've been doing this now for 33 years, and you've been doing it the way that you think it should be done. Right. You have people around you that you trust too?
Very much so. I'm very, very fortunate. I'm obviously biased, but we have the best team in the industry. We have the best leadership team in the industry. And we have every individual that sits around the table with me is doing a job that they haven't done before.
Mm. That's great.
Yeah.
Why do you think that brings something different?
They value the opportunity. They've earned the opportunity. And then they don't have any preconceived ideas of how that job should be done.
I love how you've surrounded yourself with people who are trying things that are new. Mm-hmm. And you've also surrounded yourself with people who've needed a second chance.
Absolutely.
Why has that been important to you?
It's what we believe a corporation should do. We believe that a corporation should have a level of responsibility for the communities that they're in, should find a way to remove barriers to give people an opportunity to change their station in life. It should be part of what you do. And years ago, the Andrew Carnegies of the world, that's what they did. Were they challenging? Were they ruthless? Were they amazing negotiators? But he built 3,600 libraries in the U.S. Mm-hmm. because he didn't have an opportunity to go to university, but he could learn from reading, and he wanted everyone to be able to learn from reading. So if you think about that generation of business, they were amazing, right? Mm-hmm. But they all still found a way to remove barriers to give the average person an opportunity to change their station in life. And somewhere along the line, that has fallen out of what a corporation should do and what a CEO should be responsible for. And it needs to come back.
Do you have conversations at the CEO level with other CEOs about this?
I do.
Are they comfortable conversations?
In some instances they are, and in some instances they aren't. They're circles, those circle conversations.
How do you think that people would describe you? It was interesting when you said Andrew Carnegie, like ruthless, challenging,
Right.
But how would people describe you in terms of business?
In terms of business, driven, consistent, honest, and direct.
Does that translate into personal life?
It does. It absolutely does. I think, one of the things, it's very fortunate, right? Paul and I had an opportunity to work together.
Yeah, and Paul's your husband.
He's my husband. He was our CFO. He had his own business when we met.
Yeah.
He's still our board chair. And so we had an opportunity to work together, which was one of the greatest gifts you could have. And I believe in business, you should be who you are all the way around, all the way down to the green hair, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
especially down to the green hair.
There are so many people that walk up to me and go, "Man, I wish I could do that. I'm not allowed to do that at my job." And I'm like, "Well, give me a call."
Can we get into that a little bit about how people will secretly come and be like, "I wish I could reveal my true self. I wish I could be authentically who I want to be in a position of leadership without worrying that someone will think less than."
Right. It's so true. And it's not unique to women. It's across the board, right? If you're good at what you do, then that gives you've earned the opportunity to be yourself. But part of being your best is being yourself every single day. And when you meet that rare CEO, a Jamie Dimon, mm-hmm. who is absolutely Jamie Dimon and has been as long as I have followed his career, you almost know what he's going to say. You almost know when he's going to get that smile on his face. And he runs the most powerful, successful financial institution in the world. And he's himself. And it hasn't changed from when it was Bank One, right? All the way to where it is now. But he's a rarity.
What would you say to people who are maybe struggling to find that?
I think that part of it is, in order to be able to be yourself, you have to do something that you're really good at. And sometimes what you're really good at isn't necessarily what you think you love. I danced for 22 years. Was I going to make a living as a dancer? Absolutely not. That wasn't going to happen. Was I going to be able to take care of my mom and dad if I had a dance studio? Absolutely not. I'm really good at this job. And then when you're really good at something, all of a sudden you realize that it's much easier to be yourself, right?
Yeah.
You're incredibly good at what you do as a journalist.
Thank you.
And you get to be yourself, right?
Yeah. It's taken a long time though, Cindy.
Yeah.
I got to be honest with you, because I think that there is that pressure to appear in a way that is pleasing to all.
To all. Right.
And that is a struggle that I think many of us go through. And maybe, is it age? I mean, is it that we've just finally reached a point where like,
I have no more tolerance for this.
That's right.
We have reached the cap of tolerance. We're done.
I love it. Talk to me about the importance of a partner in Paul, and how you've been able to work together and be together, though, but still have this business.
Yeah. Well, we're very fortunate. I was 34 when we got married, so a lot of people thought no one would ever marry me.
Oh my God, why would you say that? And why would people say that?
Because I was so driven with the business. And, the thing about Paul is he's brilliant. He could be outward facing. He could, be the person, but he was like, my job is to make sure that there are always the resources there that us three needs for you to go do whatever it is that you can drive this company to do. And to this day, we still don't always agree on everything. But to his credit, he's like, here's my opinion, here's my input, here's my feedback. You're our CEO, figure out, go do it. I'm here to support you. And so we had an opportunity to work together, which was really unique. Obviously, we were really successful. We figured out who was strong at what, and how do we support that and play to each other's strengths. We didn't think that you couldn't take it home because you had to, right? Us three.
Right, this was all encompassing.
It's all encompassing. And so I think that helped, because a lot of people are like, oh, well, we're going to check it at the door. And it's like, we have no doors. You don't check anything at a door. And we did the same thing in working together. And then as the company became more successful, where we really were able to get joy was giving people an opportunity to change their station in life, recognizing that it's a success when you have a room full of people raise their hand and say, when you came to work at us three, did you come to do a job you've done before? And most of them, no, it's their first chance. And then when they've been with us, to have over 70% of them say they're doing another job. And then the last thing that we still do every day is, as the company continued to be successful, our ability to make a difference in the community, right? And we still work on that together every single day. He was chair of Michigan Humane before I was. He led the capital campaign for the Mackey Center, which is the facility now in North America. And how could you not just value that and appreciate it?
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about giving before I want to talk about your role in really the city of Detroit and supporting it, but talking about the things that you love, and it's animals. And there's 5 cats that's running around that are running around the office somewhere right now.
I know. I'm really surprised Joe hasn't tried to get on camera.
Someone hasn't tried to pop
that's
in
right,
here.
yeah.
But your love for animals and Michigan Humane and everything. Tell us why that is such a special place for you.
We think, that animals are completely always dependent. They're at the will of the human that they interact with.
Yeah, we call them our family members, but really they don't get to make many decisions.
They don't get to make many decisions. Yeah. And so there has to be a way to make sure that they can be taken care of and they can be safe. And now there's enough medical studies to show that if you have a dog in your family, your blood pressure will go down, right? I mean, so Michigan Humane, we've moved to this place where we'll always rescue and protect. Always. We believe there are no bad dogs. There's only bad humans. But we also recognize that if we can keep a family together, we have changed this. We have changed the city. We have changed the community. Somebody is happier. They're more relaxed. The children have someone to play with. So the idea that you keep a family together and that family might have a 4-legged dog or a 3-legged dog or a 4-legged cat, it impacts the community in a way that you almost can't measure.
Yeah, the pets are a great equalizer. You're also a huge supporter of Eastern Market.
Yes, yes. So my grandparents came here in 1911 from Lithuania, and they went to the market.
It's amazing. I think sometimes we take for granted that we have this amazing,
take for granted.
Historic market that still is one of the largest farmers markets in the country.
It's one of the largest farmers markets. It's a regional wholesaling. And if we didn't learn anything from the pandemic, one of the things we learned is we don't have it together when it comes to where food is moved, how it's moved, where it's processed. We have significant entrepreneurial programs at the market. We have access for entrepreneurs to have storage, cold storage, washing, storefronts, packaging that they couldn't find anywhere else in the state for the price point that we can offer it to them. It's this magical, multifaceted entity. We have almost 3,000 jobs there with the meat processors, 3,000 jobs with the starting salary at $18 an hour. No degree required. They'll hire returning citizens.
Excellent. Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
And it's hidden. Part of what I've been working with Dan on is we have to improve how we tell our story. And in a way, it's not unlike S3. We're so busy doing what we do that telling the story it's never made the priority. But it is a magical place. And so when my grandparents came here, they had no money, right? They came from Lithuania. And they went to the market every Saturday. And then my dad went to the market every Saturday. And then he took me to the market. And if I'm in town on a Saturday, I am at the market faithfully.
We talked about philanthropy. We've talked about how you invest in your people here at S3. I want to ask about when you knew that you had a prominent and powerful voice in the city of Detroit and in the direction that this city could go in as it has gone through so many changes, through bankruptcy and come out. When did you feel that you had a voice at the table?
That's a really good question. We've lived in the city since 1986, downtown proper, somewhere around, right? So we've had an opportunity to see and engage. And I've always worked really hard to be able to influence. I've never felt of my voice as being powerful because power it's so easy to lose it and have it ebb and flow. But I really wanted to be able to have the ability to influence. And I can't actually think of when that started because you don't necessarily look for it if you measure it that way. But part of it was you had to get yourself at the table, right? So the opportunity many years ago to chair the Mackinac Conference put me at the table. Did I have a lot of influence then? I don't think so. But I have an opportunity to start to earn respect from people that I would want to influence. You had to have a successful S3 to earn that respect. So that was my number one priority and still is. S3 has to be successful. And then that creates an opportunity for someone to pause and go, maybe I might want to know what she thinks. I didn't think I did, but that company has grown every year. I might want to see what she thinks about something else.
She's doing something right. And her judgment is valuable because if she's making judgment calls here in business, it can translate.
Exactly. So I can't really say when. I think probably one of my biggest defining moments when I said I was going to write Mike Duggan's name in on my ballot.
Now, that was at a Pancakes and Politics event.
Yes.
And tell me about the thought process into that.
I was on stage, and I'm always thankful to be invited. And Bud Denker was on stage, Bill Picard, Nancy Schlichting. I don't remember who was moderating. And the last question was, who are you going to vote for mayor? And Bud he didn't give a name. Nancy didn't give a name. Bill Picard said Benny. And I realized, including Bill Picard, that I was the only Detroit resident on the stage. And I pointed that out and said, well, I'm actually the only person that can vote for the mayor of Detroit that's sitting on this stage.
A powerful statement in its own.
And I'm going to write Mike Duggan's name in on my ballot. And it just came out. Because I really believed Mike would make an amazing mayor. And that's what I said. And that was probably the very first time that I actually felt like there was a level of influence there.
And what did that mean to you?
It meant that I took appropriate use of a forum to share a personal opinion in an appropriate manner, and it had an impact.
And now looking back, now he's in his third term, what do you think of everything that's transpired in the city? I think that Mike has been an amazing mayor at a time when we needed an amazing mayor most. Cities need good mayors. They can deal with challenged mayors. They can deal with average mayors. And they go through, just like businesses, just like people, they go through peaks and valleys, and they have different areas of tipping points. And we had Mike when we needed him most. And he's actually moved us to a place where we're farther along than I thought we could be. And who but Mike to carry us out of bankruptcy? Everybody thought that was going to be his big challenge, right? Right.
And then he carried us through COVID. And you watched all different types of leaders, elected, non-elected, right, left, in between. And you watched so many leaders struggle. And Mike was just like, none of us have been through this. This is what I'm going to do. My responsibility is to take care of the citizens of Detroit, and I'm not going to wait on anybody to get it done.
It was an amazing time.
Yeah.
And to see how everything has changed. Mm-hmm. Cindy, I got to ask, I mean, what do you do for fun? I sense that there's something that has to do with cigars and whiskey, and I'm all on board.
Okay. All right. Yes. Yeah. Full disclosure. Yes. We play golf. We're golfers. We do belong to more cigar clubs than golf clubs.
Oh, really? Cigar clubs?
Yeah.
What is that like?
It's great. It's absolutely great. Yes, I'm a big whiskey drinker. Mm-hmm. We love to travel, and we equally love to be at home, right? Yeah. You know, at home we've got Dorney and the cats there, in addition to the menagerie that we have here, and to be outside. So, and I'm a huge reader. Yeah. So huge reader. Yeah.
Is it something that you do like a daily, that you'll carve out time daily, or you'll just get into whatever book that you're into at the time?
It's both. So every morning I read the local papers. I read the Financial Times, the Wall Street Journal. I go out to BBC. I have a European newsletter that I read. And then I read books like continuously.
Yeah. So it gives you perspective, all the news from around the world.
And that's how you learn. And that's how you learn, right? Yeah. It's it gives you perspective, and that's how I learn, is by reading.
Let me bring back in the whiskey and women. You do an event. Why is it important to get powerful, interesting women in one room, surrounded by a beverage, and the flow of conversation?
I think the intent is behind Real Women Drink Whiskey is there are many individuals in the room that would be considered usual suspects, right? But there are many that are not.
I love that. I love when you get the different voices. Like you need to hear from this person more.
You need to hear from this person. You need to create a venue of comfort and safety, where they can be themselves. So it's like when people share pictures on social media, it's mostly of the venue, right? A few of the faces, because we all protect it. But it's really important that it's not everybody that should be invited. It's individuals that are recognized that this is where you need to be yourself and you need to engage with someone that you never thought you would.
It's not performative.
That you've never met.
Yeah.
And then enjoy yourself.
You have supported women entrepreneurs also in the city. That's been something that's been close to you.
Yes, very much so. I was so fortunate on Thursday. I had dinner with April Wagner, the amazing glass artist, right, and business owner, and Rachel Lutz, and Amy Peterson, Rebel Now, right, and Liz Blondie normally joins us, but she was on holiday. Yes, and one of them had asked me a while ago. Amy had said, "What can we do for you? What do you want?" I said, "I just want to have a meal with all of you 4 or 5 times a year. I have so much energy being with that group of women and listening to their stories and where they are in their businesses. Nothing made me happier than that night. And if I can help remove some barriers for them, share some observations or opinions, it's joyful. And they're just all so freaking good at what they do.
Yeah. What's next, Cindy?
What's next? Well, we've got some big goals for us three. We did open in 3 countries this year. So we opened in the Philippines, we opened in Argentina, we opened in Poland. We'll be opening in Singapore by the end of first quarter next year. And so we want to continue to have S3 grow, be profitable, create jobs, continue to demonstrate that a privately held company can protect and maintain its culture as it continues to grow, and then use that as our ability to impact all of the communities that we do business in.
He'd be pretty proud, huh?
Thank you. Yeah, he would.
Yeah. Thanks for the time, Cindy.
Oh, thank you.
It's so good to be here with you and do this. It's
Thank
good.
you. I really appreciate it.